The internet went crazy last week when Rockstar dropped the second trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. Fans have been combing through the trailer bit by bit to get any sort of detail that they can out of the characters, out of the storyline, out of the gameplay, and I am no different. I combed through that trailer as well, and I try to figure out all the different watches that were in the game. I don't know why I did it. I thought it would be a fun video to do, to kind of break down and see what characters are wearing what watches. And I know the watches aren't going to be real, like Rolex is not going to be sponsoring Grand Theft Auto 6 anytime soon, but the watches I found in-game do take inspiration from real brands, from Casio all the way to Rolex and even Patek Philippe. It is crazy the amount of detail that Rockstar puts into its games, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is no different. But if you are as sick in the head as I am, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It really does help the channel. So before we get too crazy, there is a lot of information we have to go through. There's a trailer, there is a bunch of 4K images, and there's like 5 or 6 characters that we can clearly see their watches. And not to mention, there are a bunch of background characters that I'm not going to mention here. We have old ladies in swimsuits that are wearing Casio F91Ws. We have police officers wearing what appears to be Apple watches. And there are some background characters that appear to be wearing your typical movement style or designer brand watches that I'm not going to be getting into. The watches I'm going to be covering have to be on the wrist of a significant character in the game, or if there is a very good screen cap of the watch, I'll include that as well. So let's start off with the main character of the game, Jason Duval. We first see him in the trailer hammering some shingles on the roof, and then later on in the trailer, he's hammering his fist into someone's face. Across numerous scenes in the trailer, Jason is consistently wearing a watch, even though there are some scenes where he isn't wearing a watch. Most of the time, he's wearing the watch on his left wrist. Visually, the watch features a digital display with a functional and uncluttered layout, clearly showing the time, date, and potentially other metrics depending on the scene. The strap appears to be made out of a durable, dark-colored material, likely resin, which suggests practicality, resilience, which is fitting for a character potentially involved in high-stakes activities. Now, there has been some discussion online where Jason is actually going to be an undercover police officer, so this watch makes sense for him. It has to be highly legible and functional. Not only that, it has to be durable. If he's going to be getting involved in these high-stakes situations, the watch can't break on him. And since he's the point man, he's the one going through all these missions, he cannot be wearing these gold diamond encrusted watches. It doesn't make sense for him. And like I said, if he's going to be an undercover cop, something flashy doesn't make sense for him. So this is going to work perfectly. It does give me some vibes of a Casio Pro Trek or possibly Pathfinder. And some people on Reddit have suggested that this watch is the Q&Q M119J002Y. And it's hard to argue that it is not the Q&Q, but wherever Rockstar got the inspiration for this watch, it makes sense for the character, at least from what I'm seeing right now. So I'm excited to see where this character goes in the game. And yeah, hopefully he bashes someone's face in while he's wearing the watch as a knuckle duster. Now, I just caught this while I was going through the trailer yet again, but Jason picks up Lucia from the prison, and the prison guard is wearing the same exact watch as Jason, which kind of gives a little implication that Jason is indeed an undercover cop. Now, when it comes to the other playable character, Lucia, it doesn't really appear like she's wearing a watch in the game. I don't know if there's going to be a character customization where she can put on a wristwatch or not, but in any of the trailers and any of the images, I don't see her with a watch. I hope in Grand Theft Auto 6 we do heists that are similar to the ones that are in Grand Theft Auto 5, so I figured the character would need a watch, but maybe she just keeps really good internal time. I don't know. All right, let's move on to a different character named Brian Heder, who appears to be Jason's boss. Not his police officer boss, but his crime syndicate boss. One interesting thing about Brian is that he appears to be a watch collector. In the trailer, he's wearing a solid gold, white dial, integrated bracelet style watch on a leather strap, almost like a Royal Oak or Nautilus. We can see it on his left wrist, but instead of a integrated gold bracelet, we have a leather strap here. So you might be thinking to yourself, Steve, what's the big deal? Why do you think he's a watch collector? Well, in the 4K images, you can see Brian actually wearing a two-tone Submariner. And what's interesting is that he's wearing it with the same shirt that he was in the trailer. So I don't know if this is an update to his character model or if he actually collects watches in game. Maybe he stole it off of a character, maybe he bought it from delraywatch.com, maybe it's just an update to the character model itself. But in a different image, he's actually wearing that same two-tone Submariner with a different outfit. So I don't know if these characters are going to have multiple outfits, multiple watches or pieces of jewelry, or it's just Brian specifically. It's going to be really interesting to see how this character unfolds and how big of an impact he has on Jason and his crime career. Now, like I said, luckily Rockstar released 4K images to go along with the trailer. We can really zoom in on some of these watches, like on this character, Boobie Ike. It's really hard to tell what he's wearing on the wrist here. It does appear like the case is made out of some black ceramic. We do have gold pushers and a gold crown, not to mention a gold bezel and a gold bracelet. Kind of reminds me of a Breitling. And then as you can see in this next image, we do have a bi-compax layout with white subdials. And then going back to that gold bezel, it does appear to have rider tabs, which kind of makes sense here because Breitling is a very flashy brand. So if you are going to be flashing your money, you might as well have a flashy watch on your wrist as well. And that's not the only Breitling that I've seen. Another Breitling comes on the wrist of a character named DreQuan Priest. Now, it's really hard to tell from this angle, but if we zoom in, we can see a coin edge bezel that looks like a Breitling Navitimer's bezel, and it does appear to have a very wide and open dial. Not to mention we do have two pushers and a crown, so this is a chronograph, but that doesn't appear to be DreQuan's only watch. In a different image, he does appear to be wearing some sort of diver. It is really hard to determine which diver that is. It has a very unique bracelet layout with the dial and bezel there, so it's kind of hard to determine where they got the inspiration for this watch. It does look a little bit generic, but also it is really hard to see. Maybe it is the same watch from the other image, but it does appear to be two separate watches here. Like I said, I have no idea who these characters are. I don't know who is a friend or an enemy of Lucia or Jason. I don't know how they're going to play out in the story, but I'll tell you what, Raul Batista does not seem like a good guy. It does remind me of an Omega Aquaterra, but the handset is just a little bit different. It kind of gives me a cathedral handset vibe, but it's really hard to tell from this image. Like I said, it's such a long distance away and I'm really zooming in on the image, but it kind of reminds me of an Aquaterra with a cathedral handset. It is not overly gaudy. It's not like a big gold watch on your wrist. It doesn't seem like he's trying to be a flashy guy. Maybe he kind of works in the shadows. And like I said with Jason, it does appear like this is a perfect watch for this character, even though I don't know who he is or what he stands for. Now, this next watch is the clearest image of a watch aside from Jason's that I've seen. It's so clear that you actually read the brand name. Crowlex. I am not joking. This is a gold day date with a black dial. As you can see, it does have the fluted bezel, the baton indices, the fence post hands, the 3 o'clock date window, the 12 o'clock day window, and the lovely Crowlex brand name at the top. I don't know what that logo is. I think it's a spaceship? Something phallic for sure. I would expect nothing less from Rockstar. It actually looks pretty well done, and it's getting me really excited for Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm going to customize my character. I'm going to have an assortment of watches that I'm going to collect. Hopefully they have a little watch box display because it looks like they're putting a lot of time and effort into the watches. So hopefully there's something like that in the online feature. I doubt it's going to be a watch box, but you know, hopefully something along those lines. So here's where I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite part about the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer? Was it the watches? Was it the missions? Was it, you know, things that we can't really talk about on this channel? Let me know in the comment section down below. I really want to hear what you guys think of the watches and also of Grand Theft Auto 6. I know personally, I am super excited for this game, and 2026 cannot come soon enough. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It really does help the channel. And if you're still here and want to fit into Vice City, go ahead and watch my best gold watch under 1,000 video. I forget the exact title, but I compare 3 watches. They're all gold and perfect for Vice City. Go ahead, click right there. Go. Click it now. Go. Now. Go.